Hi, it's Kerry from Mobilates here with you again. It's a very, very wet Wednesday in Devon. It has been pouring down all day. So let's distract ourselves from the weather and let's get moving. So you can be standing, you can be seated. We're going to have standing, seated, lying down today. And you can do seated throughout. There's options for all different ways of moving. And if there's anything you want extra assistance with, let me know. Put something in the comments, you know, a particular position that you find tricky, because I'm here each week at this time. I can always come up with something different. Right, let's get moving. So start with your feet. It's about 2 fists between the knees distance if you're standing or sitting. Now, if you're standing, it's quite difficult to work that out. Just look down and look down. Could you put a paperback book between your feet? That's a good way of knowing that your feet are about the right distance. Feet are facing forwards, your toes are forwards, soft in your knees, and let's place a hand on the belly, hand on the lumbar, the low back. And we're going to go into a little pelvic tilt. And you can see I'm trying to do this so you can just see my pelvis moving, and without my legs trying to join in. They love to, but I don't want them to. I just want the pelvis to move. So this is the standing version. And it really helps to do this with an exhale. So breathe in when you feel like you're just either upright or tipping a little bit forwards with the belly. And when I say breathe in, aim that air at the sides of your ribs. And as you breathe out, let your belly come back towards you and feel like this bit of your waistband here is pushing away from you. And if I'm doing this seated, I'll give you the side view because it's much more effective. So hand on the belly, hand on the back, and exactly the same. You'll also feel when you're seated that you're on your sitting bones, and then as you pull back and your back sort of lengthens out, and it almost feels like you're tucking your bum under, then you're off your sit bones. You go onto the squeegee bit of your bum. That's it. A couple more of those. Who's that saying hello? Jackie, hi. Lovely to have you here. Couple more of those. That's it. And then have a little shake out. You may feel a little bit stiffer than usual, a little bit twingy, because damp weather, changes in temperature can bring all those things up, maybe more than usual. So, you know, just take it at your own pace as always. Right, now let's get into head and shoulders. So a little tap at the back of the head. And then just let your head glide around. And you're trying to keep your eyes at the same level, like you're tracking height around your I think this and turn your head to one side and take the opposite arm outwards. Turn the palm upwards, downwards. It's the same if you're seated. And you might find there's a limit to how far upwards you want to go. Mine does not want to go completely up. It's fine going down, it can go back a little bit, but upwards, it's sort of reaching a point where I'm not going to force it. And then bring the arm back in, head forwards, and just have a little wiggle. And then turn your head the other way. The arm goes outwards, starts palm down. And then just keeping your eyes in the other direction, turn your palm up and down, and just see where it wants to go. Now, my arm is to the side and slightly back. It could be a little bit more forward. It could be further back. You'll feel where your range is. Again, don't push it. That's it. And then bring it back to the center. And then we're going to give our head tilt, ear towards shoulder, ear towards other shoulder. Now, I've noticed a few little visual sort of flashes of screen as we've been doing this. And I know Virtual Village Hall have had some issues doing lives on Facebook recently, so please be patient. They are working on, I don't know if it's that or if it's a weather thing with signals, but you know, we're here, we're staying here. Come back to the center, and then some sort of roll that feels nice for you. So I'm going for a sort of half circle-ish, horseshoe type shape. You might go in a bigger circle. You might go in like a really small circle with your nose or a frame. Something feels good. And then just keep your eyes looking forward. And give your shoulders a little wriggle forward and backwards. And if that feels okay, your arms come down. If it doesn't, keep your arms quite close to you so that your shoulders are supported, and you might do one and then the other. But if you're okay, your arms can come downwards. The arms are fairly close and straightish. And we're just going a little forwards and back. And do the better. Breathe in and come forwards. You can feel that high, like you're wearing your shoulders as earrings, and then breathing out as they go down and round the back. Lovely. I'm going to do a couple forwards as well. That's it. And then with your arms just down by your sides or resting here, we're going to take our arms forwards. The shoulders don't need to come forwards, just the arms. So when I say shoulders forwards, it's like you're sort of trying to give somebody a present, that sort of leap. You can feel them really coming forward. Don't need that for this one. So keep the arms back. And we're going to do a little like a back stroke. Your palm going inwards. Now keeping my arms gently bent for this, you can do that. You can keep your arms quite low if they don't feel comfortable going high. Or you can take them right up, and it's like your arms are doing a sort of scissor or split sort of movement, and you could even make them really straight. Now that's not comfortable for me today. My shoulders are a little bit achy, so I'm just keeping a little bit of a bend in mine. And this is your sort of center point, somewhere around the front. Could be here, it could be lower. This is as high as it's going to go. And then we can see how far each side wants to move. And then take the arms downwards. Next, we're going into the toes. I'm just turning to the side so you can see them. Give them a little lift up and down. You could even try big toe first and then the other toes separately. I'm laughing because I can see my left foot better than you can, and it's not really playing the game. But, you know, you just do your best. Send the messages down to the toes. And if you're doing this in shoes, feeling your big toe come up and press up into the toe box and press down on the inner hole, and the other is pressing up. I'm doing this in my toe socks. Then give your feet a little roll in and out, in along to the center line and out. And we're really looking at sort of where the toe joints meet the foot here. So whereas like a bunion would be here, and this little area, this sort of bump on the outside of your little toe. That's it. Lovely. And we'll give our foot a little roll around each side. That's it. Now we're coming back to the arms. I'm going to stand for this one, but you can stay seated or even on the edge of a bed, seated again. So we're going to take one arm in a circle-ish. Keep the body facing forwards. And look what my hand's doing. It goes up and then pulls back towards me again. A little pull along the nerve there. Keep the body facing forwards. So I've done 3 like that. Now I'm going to do it, and I'm going to let my body turn out to the side. And you can widen your legs for this a little bit as well. Can make the turning more comfortable. So a little bit of rotation going on at the waist, but a gentle one. Same on the other side. So start facing forwards. That's it. So your arm comes out and the palm is sort of into this center line. And then it turns out, it's like you're pushing something away. That's it. And then we're going to do it with this turn in the body. I'm going to take the legs a little wider. Let's do this one in the chair. That's it. So you can feel the torso is just having a little turn round, but it's a gentle one. That's it. And then if you're seated, bring your legs back to facing forwards. If you're standing, narrow your legs again. So in fact, now a little wider if you're standing. Now if you're seated, this is how I'd like you to start, stroking up and down your thighs. And if you're standing, a little swish around. This is where your legs need to be wide. Just gives you a more stable base. Now if you're seated, bring that swish around into it and take your legs wider too. That's it. So we're getting again into a little bit more of a waist twist. The wide legs help. They make it more comfortable. If you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia, this is a really nice way to put in a gentle twist. It means that if you get into a car and you have to turn to put like a seatbelt on or to get out of the car, it keeps that motion. And then make it smaller, bring it in, bring your legs in, place your hands together. We're just taking the head back a little so you've got that long neck, and putting the fingers underneath the chin and keep that point of contact. It's very gentle. I've just got my first finger underneath. Now having a little turn, see how small it is. Now to make this more comfortable, just like before, take your legs wider and push your feet downwards. Now, if you're standing, your feet are going down anyway, but if you're seated, actively push down so you feel your thighs tighten. And you might find you go just a little further, but you're just going to a gentle point. You're not forcing anything. You don't get to a point and think, oh, I'm going to push through this. That's not going to feel very nice. Just get to a point and think, yeah, I can feel them on the edge there. That's okay. Lovely. And then come back. Legs back in. We want the foot off the floor enough to mobilize. So if you're seated, you might even sit back in your chair a little bit, and then you might lift your foot like that, or with your hands under your thighs. Or if you're standing, you might hold onto something. And so this leg's supporting you, and this leg's just lifted enough to get your foot going round and round. That's it. And then swap over to the other foot. So a little bit of balance. You could even see if you could take your fingers off or make the touch lighter. And then we're going to go into heel raises. So I'm going to do these ones standing. Feet are pointing forwards, but you can do it in the chair as well. Now, you can either use your arms to come up and down with you to help give you a sort of counterbalance, or you could touch something. You could do it by a wall, could be touching the chair. Or if you're doing it on the chair, you might want your hands up on your chest. I'll show you both ways in a moment. But just coming up and down, maybe less far than you can go, because I could go up here and you can see it will have a little wobble. So I don't want any wobble, just up and down. And even faster up and down, but smaller up and down. Soon feel that one. And then if you're seated, up and down, there's the hands on the chest. Now, if you want something, I can really feel the calf squeeze when I'm doing these seated today. If you want something a little more seated, put your arms in this sort of Cossack position away from you and just gaze over the top ahead. And you could even squeeze your legs towards each other. That's really stuck together. That's it, and your feet as well. I can really feel that. And you feel the core just sort of zip up. Brilliant. And then take it out and just have a little wriggle. Right, next we're going to go for a little tabletop move. So I'll do it seated and standing. It's going to look slightly different. You're going to work one side first. So if you're standing, take the weight to one leg and hold on to something on the other side if you need to, or you might have your arm out. But if you need the support, just have it there just in case. This other leg, you're starting to lift it up, and the knees coming up. And you want to take it to a place where you can hold it. So it might be this high, sort of tabletop, horizontal, or it might be a bit lower. If you're doing this seated, I've already got this bent leg, so we're going to do a heel raise. Just a little heel raise, and you can either hold it up so your toes just on the floor, or you keep your foot flat and just lift it up. But we're going to hold it. So you can choose whichever is your favourite. And then I'll stay seated. Just start crossing your hands. One on the top, the other on the top. And as you're doing this, that might already be enough. And if you're holding on to something, you might be doing it with just one hand. If it feels too wobbly, if you're standing particularly. You might even be able to twist at the waist a little bit. Easier seated than it is standing. I'll do standing on the other side. Oh, and then that leg definitely needs a little bit of rub, bit of either a kick out or a stretch out. And that might be how you like to do it if you're seated. This was just lengthening away. I like to hold onto the chair so I don't go too much on that side. And if you're standing, you might want to lengthen the leg a little bit behind you. Just give that area a rub where it gets tight. And then we'll do the other side. So I'm going to do it with my arms out for my sort of counterbalance. This leg straightish, but not so pushing right back and sort of you want a little bit of softness, just so you can control it. Right, a little up and down with this leg. And then bring it up to a place where you can keep it. So I've got my sort of tabletop here. And then my hands, I'm keeping looking forward so I don't fall. I'm looking just at the screen, but you might look at a picture on the wall. That's it. Or out of the window. And then maybe, a little turn at the waist. Now I've picked the right leg to do this on because I'm better on this leg than I am on the other side. But I can feel it's going. And then some sort of stretch out. So if you're seated, you might lean back and stretch that leg long that way. If you're standing, taking it behind you, give it a little rub here, stand as tall as you can, just to lengthen this bit out. And you can always do it off and on if it feels a bit much. That's it. And then get your legs a little wider, seated or standing, feet are pointing out a little bit. We're going to go for a side bend and give your fingers a little wiggle like they're crawling away from you. So it's like a teapot side bend, so the arm coming out and then the fingers reaching away. And one more that side. And then we're going to swap over, same on the other side. That's it. And then we're going to take it to a roll down. So you might do a hinged roll down where you send your bum backwards. Don't need to go very low. See, my back is straight here. My hands are on my thighs. And then it starts from the lumbar, this low part of my back. And that starts lowering, like the pelvic tilt at the beginning. And then just take my hands and walk them up my body. So I stick my bum back. So like I'm just about to sit down, my chest is going forwards. And then I lower here and walk upwards, exactly the same seated. But you could also do a classic roll down. Some of you might like this. This goes through the whole spine. And you bend right over and you work your way back up. So I'm just going to take myself, chin just lowers to that little notch, the collarbone. I'm going to stroke my legs going down this time, try and keep my body quite close. And then I'm just going to hang here, curve at the top of the spine. And I'm breathing into my back and letting it puff up. So into my back, into my side ribs. And next time I exhale, I'm going to stack myself back up. And then I'm going to open my arms out, send my chest up. And then going down again, you might go down a little lower this time. And that breath again, puff up your back. You can see my legs are a little bit bent. They can be a lot bent if that's better for you. And then stack yourself back up. Chest up, arms out, and last one. Lovely. Right, now we're going to take it down to the floor if you want to go on the floor, or you could stay seated. So I'm going to swap between the two positions. You get yourselves comfortable. Just going to change the camera to show both positions. Leave the chair down this end. In fact, what I'll do is let's swap into the sofa. Let's see how it goes. Right, so you might need a cushion for your head if you're lying down. If you're seated, you can sit right at the back of your chair if you like. So you've got full back support. And just have a moment lying down, sitting back, and get yourself settled. That's it. And any little wriggles that you need, any head turns that you need. And your gaze, if you're lying down on the floor, is up at the ceiling, and your gaze, if you're seated, is straight ahead. And then start on your pelvic tilts. We can do this with that lateral rib breath when we breathe to the sides of our chest and our backs. You might feel it against the floor or against the back of your chair. You're looking for a width-ways expansion. And then as you breathe out, we're going to the pelvic tilt, so your pubic bone's coming towards your nose. That's an easy way of thinking of it if you're lying down. And you might feel your back pressing into the floor, or you might just feel it's lowered a little, it doesn't reach that far down. As you breathe in, roll the opposite way. And 2 more times. And then let everything settle. And now I'd like you to reach your arms. If you're on the floor, they're going to be up towards the ceiling. Let the shoulders drop down to the floor. And if you're seated, they're straight ahead. Now engage your belly a little, so there's a little bit of tension. And think about your ribs and how the bottom of your ribs, how far it is from your hips. I don't want that to change. I don't want it to go up and down and your back to move around. I want that all to stay still. Now move your arms forwards and backwards without changing anything. So your back doesn't move around. So your ribs don't sort of flare upwards. We're just having a little bit of control. And if you're seated doing this, now if I was to flare my ribs, I'd sort of be doing that and leaning back on the chair. Not doing that move. We're keeping this core connected, so like the rib to hip area, just keeping that still for this one, keeping control. We could do a back bend another time. It's a different sort of move. That's it. Lovely. And last one. And now I'd like you to, if you're on the chair, come forwards. So you're on the edge of the chair and put your hands behind you. If you're lying down, stay as you are, your arms down at your sides. But could all of us, lying down and seated, could you take your feet forwards as far as they can go? Still got a bit of a gap between them. And now sway your knees from side to side. And then walk your feet back a little. Sway them from side to side. I'm going to take it down to the floor, but if you're seated, stay like this with your hands just behind. They can hold onto the chair. You don't need to sink down, keeping your back straight. Now bring your feet a little closer. So now you've got your legs at a sort of 90-degree-ish angle, and you might find you can sway just a little more. And now bring them closer still. So they might be really close to your chair legs, really close to your bum. You might want your arms a little wider if you're lying down, because more of your hips can sway. That's it, well done. And then we're going to take it onto our side if you're lying down. If you're seated, just stay in the front third of your chair with your legs 2 fists apart. So if you're lying down, we're going to go into a long line and bend your bottom leg. So your top leg is straight and your bottom leg is bent. Flatten your top foot. And you've got a hand, so you've got a hand down here for support. You want to feel that you're really strong in this area. So everything's sort of long, you're not sort of sinking down and it's not all floppy. As soon as that leg goes long, it tends to stretch everything out. And that your foot is just pointing forwards. I'm going to lift this leg up and down. It's not going to go down and touch the other leg. It's just going up and down about 6 times. Now, if you're seated, it's going to be a little different. I'd like you to take your foot out and then out a little bit more. So it's like 2 stages, and just work the same side. Out a little more. Just so you feel it a little bit at the side, then we're working the same area. Out a little bit more. And you've probably got 1 or 2 more left to go. That's it. And then the next one's going to look different. So for seated people, shuffle back. I'd like you to extend the leg away and then take it a little out to the side and back. Now you can either put it back down on the floor or you can keep it up, going out to the side. You might hold your chair, or you might stay like this and go in and out. If you're lying down, we're going to have this top leg lifted and we're going to take it forwards, backwards, and then back in the middle, lift it up again. Forwards, backwards, or back in the middle, so it's long, lift it up again. Forwards, backwards, back in the middle, lift it up again. And one more, forwards, backwards, back in the middle, lift it up again. And then take your legs, hug them in, bring them in, and just give things a rub. And if you're seated in the chair, give them a little sway side to side. And then we're going to swap over. So you might roll onto your back first and then roll away from me. I'm going to switch myself right round. Let's start with that support leg, the triangle bottom leg and long top leg. And just check that you're right on your side. So it should feel like you could roll right over. I'm going to have my hand here to support me until I feel that I'm really secure. And if you feel that you can get yourself nice and secure on your side, you might put your hand on your hip. Flatten the foot like you're going to kick forwards. We're going to lift up and down. Now, your range of movement, some people I see, and they can lift right up really high. Some people just a tiny bit. Press the bottom leg into the floor. Keep that going. Now, have you remembered if you're sitting, we're doing this edge of the chair, out, and then a little bit more. Back, back. So it's a little two-step out to the side. Now, the rest of the body stays facing forwards because we're trying to use this area here. That's it. Feel that little tap of the floor. And then let the leg have a rest. You might want a little sway in and out, a little rub of the thighs, and then shuffle back if you're seated. Legs are at this 90 degrees, the two fists apart, and you're going to extend your leg, toes coming towards you a bit. Take it out to the side and in. And now you can keep it like that, or you can bend your leg and rest in between. Body stays forwards. If you are lying down, we're doing this alone, forwards, backwards, and up. So get your bottom leg bent, top leg straight, the foot is flexed again. So it's in that position where your toes are coming towards you and your foot is flat. Hand is either here or on your hips. Right, so we go forwards and back, in the middle and up. Now I'm only going as far forwards and back as I can without moving anything else, or trying not to. Forwards, back, in the middle and up. That's it. I can definitely feel it's all going on here. Oh, a bit wobbly. And let's make this next one the last one. Keep pressing the bottom leg down. It really helps stabilize. And then bend your legs. You might be letting your legs go in and out if you're seated. And if you're on your mat or on your bed, you're probably going to be rubbing your legs like me. And then bring yourself up to a seated position, either on the floor or on a chair. So I'm going to take it onto the chair. And take your legs apart. And you might be, if you're seated on the floor, you might be cross-legged or your legs going outwards. Your legs are going to stay still, just to have them somewhere comfortable. But we're going to do something with our arms. So put them in a T shape. Now your T might be like this, or it might be lower. Take one hand, push it across. Bring it back and open up. Take the other one, push it across. I'm also pushing slightly down into my feet. So if you're in a chair, it just gives you a little bit more stability. That's it. And you can see my whole body turns, sort of looks over at the arm. And one more going this way. And then bring your arms down, give your shoulders a bit of a roll, bring your legs in a little bit with your hands. I'm going to come closer. So let's give the thumbs a little circle. And then the first finger a circle going each way. And then this middle finger, a little circle. You might notice my other fingers start to join in. I can only isolate sometimes. And then these little fingers. That's it. Right, now we're going to touch the very tip of your finger to thumb. And you're trying to make a sort of circle shape. And doing that with each finger, you're trying to get a good point of contact. Now, if you have arthritis, it can be difficult to make the shape. Please be patient with yourself. If you have hypermobility, you can get that happening and the finger just collapses. So just a light touch, and it actually really helps to do it with something like a flannel or something between. It's something you can hold on to as you're doing this, like in a roll from a kitchen roll, you know, the cardboard tube. That can really help because it gives you like a mold to hold on to. But just trying to get this circular shape. And we've got a few of those. Well done. And then just a little piano playing. And then you can put your hands together or stack your fingers together and give it a little figure eight. That's it. And then take it the other way. Now you might be getting all sorts of noises. The noises don't tend to matter if things aren't hurting. It's a bit disconcerting. And it can make you feel a little self-conscious as things crack, snap, snap. I can't even say the words now. Snap, crackle and pop. But if you're not getting pain with that, it's just the noises the body makes, bit of body percussion. Oh, can you reverse it? Now I'm trying to reverse it. It's a bit of a mess. Go with it. Oh, it's coming eventually. And then take your arms down by your sides. Palms outwards. Scoop up the air. Close your eyes and see if you can bring your fingers together. Oh, just about. Now bring your hands into your chest. You can open your eyes. Give yourselves a clap. Well done. Hoping that this weather passes off and it's a little bit dry for getting outside with my dog. I shall see you again next week. I hope you enjoyed it. See you soon. Bye.